Yes, people, welcome back to Let's Talk Premier League. We're here for another episode of Niall's Thoughts. And today we're going to talk a little bit about Everton and about Rafa Benitez. Obviously, he lost his job over the weekend. And who could potentially take over at Everton? Well, there's a lot of talk about Wayne Rooney. There's a lot of talk about Graham Potter. There's even some suggesting Solskjaer, which is actually my suggestion. I actually think West Ham, Everton would be better off with Ole Gunnar Solskjaer in charge than a Wayne Rooney. But we're going to delve into what I think Everton should do. Now, we'll start off with Rafa because I think it is only fair to discuss this a little bit. Rafa was never going to work at Everton. Anyone with half a brain could see that Rafa and Everton was never going to be a match made in heaven. He got off to a good start. I think he won 4 out of his first 7, drew 2, lost 1. So he had a good start. But where did it all go wrong? Well, ultimately, the honeymoon did not last forever. And the honeymoon with Rafa never lasts forever. But I suppose the issues were that summer transfer window, he wasn't given enough to actually be successful at Everton. I don't think he was given enough. When you're given Gray, Townsend and Rondon as summer transfers, no way. No way is that going to be good enough. You even saw under Carlo Ancelotti, and he had James Rodriguez, obviously also left Everton before the start of the season. Lucas Digne fell out with Rafa. So there was a lot of fallout, but Everton just didn't strengthen enough. You could see that. I mean, with Calvert-Lewin out for such a long time, with Richarlison in and out and suspended and God knows doing what, Everton had to rely on Solomon Rondon to go get goals and Gray and all of this. So it was never going to work. But he wasn't given a fair crack of the whip, if we're being real. I think Everton have been stung many times over the over the last few years regarding transfers and all of this. They've spent a ridiculous amount of money and have very little to show for it. So maybe they were a bit apprehensive of going back into the transfer market, but you have to do that. You have to keep strengthening your squads. You have to keep putting money into your squad, because if you don't and you stand still, everyone else is getting better and you're just stagnating. Look at Mauricio Pochettino at Spurs. Prime example. Everyone else gets better. Spurs didn't spend for an entire year. They digress. It's how football works. Football is an expensive game. It's an expensive business, and you have to put your money where your mouth is. And I don't think Rafa, as I said, was given enough of a fair crack of the whip. He was given enough time. Obviously, I think, losing to Norwich, I think really final straw. But he's had to play a lot of youngsters. He's obviously had Calvert-Lewin out injured, as I said. But they didn't get a striker. They needed a backup to Calvert-Lewin, and Rondon just doesn't do it for me. He probably doesn't do it for most Premier League clubs. In fact, all of them probably. Might get in at a Norwich, but I can't imagine anyone else looking at Solomon Rondon going, "That's a good bit of business, boys. Get in there." Now, for me, there were other strikers that Everton could have got. It would have been more expensive than I think they spent 2 million or something on Rondon. But look, there's no point discussing what Everton could have done because that's in the past. And now we need to look to the future. Now, there's a lot of names being, as I said, linked with the Everton job. You've got, obviously, Wayne Rooney, who's currently doing an amazing job at Derby. I'll explain why it's a bad move for Wayne Rooney to move. It may be a good one for Everton, but it'd be a bad one for Rooney, I personally believe. You've even had Graham Potter mentioned. He's one that I do think, if Everton can get Graham Potter, I mean, that is a steal and a half. That is a real steal if you can get Graham Potter, because I just think, Graham Potter, we all know I've spoken many a times about Graham Potter and how much I admire him and think of him as a manager. There's obviously Frank Lampard, Duncan Ferguson. They're the 3. Michael Carrick. So we'll go through them all sort of individually quickly. We'll start with Rooney because he is the bookie's favourite to take the job. For me, I don't think he should take it. I think it would be a bad move for Wayne. He's doing a marvellous job at Derby County. I mean, they've had 20-something odd points taken off them for administration and various other things. And he's now not even bottom of the league. He's somehow somehow got them to be second bottom level on points. They have a chance of getting out of the relegation zone. I think they're 7 or 8 points off safety, and if Wayne can just develop some of the things that he's been developing at Derby County, if he can keep getting these wins, do you know what? He really has a good chance of getting out of that relegation scrap. And his managerial stock, if he achieves the impossible with Derby County, his managerial stock will fly up it'll fly up. He will get linked with better jobs than Everton. Maybe not yet. Maybe he should stay maybe with Derby one more year, see what happens. Because I think also Wayne is going to be very loyal to Derby. I think, they've got this far. Why would he leave now? And before anyone mentions, but it's the Premier League. Not everyone has that straight away has that ambition. Some people do have loyalty. And I think with Wayne, he'll have that loyalty to Derby, but it will be tested because obviously he came through Everton's youth academy, didn't he? Debuted for them at, I think 16 or something, wasn't it? So it's going to be really tough. Loyalties are going to be tested, but I firmly believe Wayne Rooney will stay at Derby, and I think he should. I think he should see if he can get them out of the relegation zone. If he can keep Derby up, right, with all the crap that Derby are being through, absolutely one of the best managers in the Championship for sure. And I think continue to learn the trade. He's learning it at arguably the toughest place to learn, but it's going to be the most influential for Wayne. You think about how much he's learning currently in the Championship, which is one of the hardest leagues in the world. That coupled with having no transfer budget, can't get any players in, having to rely very much on what he's got, and he's somehow picking up results. I mean, this man, I mean, he beat West Brom for goodness sake. I mean, this man, Wayne Rooney, is proven every doubter wrong. Everyone thought, is he going to be sensible enough to be a manager? He has proven that he can do it. Duncan Ferguson, he's next on the bookies' favourites. I think this would be a good move for Everton as an interim. Sort of give it for him for the rest of the season. I think he'll galvanise the squad. He's a very passionate man. I think we can all agree that he's very passionate. He's very passionate about Everton. Instantly would have the fans on his side. So it's really good, a good feel at the club, which I think will be really key. He obviously did it before Carlo Ancelotti came in. So I think Duncan Ferguson would bring the feel-good factor back to the fans, would galvanise this team. I think Duncan Ferguson would be my man until the end of the season. And then, look, you can make that assessment at the end of the season. Has he done enough to get the permanent job? Well, we don't know that, but it's worth giving him a go because I think he'll bring, not continuity, I don't think he'll do what Rafa did, but I think he'll galvanise that squad again. I think he'll really bring them together. He'll have, as I said, he'll have fans on his side. So Duncan is, Big Dunk is my one. Frank Lampard, yeah, sure, that could work as well. He would have to hit the ground running. He's a young manager. How hungry he is after losing his job at Chelsea, I don't know. He's rejected multiple managerial jobs at other places. So Frank Lampard would be a good one. I think he'd be good with the youth. I think we saw that at Chelsea, didn't we? Obviously, the likes of Mount, Tammy, Reece James. The list goes on the young players that he helped, Billy Gilmore. So I think Frank would be great, especially the young players at Everton. You think of Anthony Gordon, maybe even John Joe Kenny. Frank may have a positive thing on their career. Graham Potter, for me, is a fantastic manager, proven in the league, knows the Premier League, knows that he can do well in the Premier League. Is Everton bigger than Brighton? Yes, you would say so. Brighton's stable at the moment, but how stable they'll be, I couldn't tell you because obviously we don't really know the future of Yves Bissouma in terms of maybe in the summer getting a transfer to a bigger club. Neil Maupay is scoring goals, so Graham Potter might be wanting to just see it out at Brighton. And don't forget the United job is available. And could United look at a Graham Potter? So maybe, just maybe, Graham Potter would be like, I'm not interested in it now. I may be interested in the summer. That may be what Graham Potter does. If that's the case, you bring Duncan in for interim, see how he does. If he doesn't quite do what you need, maybe look at Graham Potter in the summer. And then the last one I want to talk about, obviously, you got Nuno. Nuno, will bring defensive football. He'll make you sort of somewhat stable at the back. If the players believe in what he wants, then he'll do well. If they don't, like they did at Spurs, then he won't succeed at all. So I think Everton probably would buy into Nuno, just purely for the fact that I think, Everton is a bit smaller than Spurs in terms of, not prestige, but in terms of sort of reputation, and Spurs have ambition. They have high ambition. So do Everton, but I don't think it matches Spurs. And the last one, Michael Carrick, would be a massive no-no. Massive no-no. Absolutely no way on your planet do you want to give Michael Carrick that job. No way do you want a man who has never managed in the Premier League to take your club. No way. That's why I'm ignoring Paulo Fonseca, and I don't actually particularly rate him. I think it'd be a terrible move getting Michael Carrick in. I really, really do. I think Michael Carrick needs to do what Wayne's doing, what maybe even Kieran McKenna's done in League One, which is go down to the lower leagues, go down to Leagues One, go down to the Championship, and actually learn your trade. I think that was the main problem with Frank Lampard, is he just came into Chelsea far too soon. And yeah, feel-good factor, first season, got top four, even nearly bottled that. Feel-good factor came in, was all good. Everyone loved it. Second season, tactically unaware, and everyone just absolutely ravaged him tactically. I mean, so Michael Carrick would be a big no-no. The reason I say Big Duncan, and people be like, but you just said Big Duncan, he's never managed in the Premier League. Big difference, massive difference, massive difference. Big Dunk's learned from Carlo Ancelotti, even some of what Rafa was teaching him, and he done the interim bit before Carlo came in, and that is completely different. That is completely different in terms of it would be an interim. It's someone who knows the club. It's someone who would have the fans on their side. Would Michael Carrick have the fans on his side? That is the question you have to ask. So for me, go get Big Dunk. Go get him a shirt and tie again. Get him into that manager's office. Just do it. Just do it. Even for an interim, because I think he'll bring you that feel good factor. He'll have the fans on his side, and to be honest, he can't do no worse than you're already doing. But that's my thoughts. Big Dunk for Everton manager is what I think they should do, whether that be permanent or an interim. I would probably recommend, if I was running Everton, give it to him on an interim basis and then reassess in the summer, see what's available, see what you're going to do, and see how Big Dunk did. But before you do go, hit that like button, get your comments in the comment section below, because I'd love to hear your thoughts on who you think should be Everton manager. And until next time, thanks for watching, and we'll be back later, 5 p.m. We're talking managers for Manchester United. Big news coming out of there today. And then don't forget, 9 p.m, the return of Genie on the weekly review show. So until next time, thanks for watching, guys, and peace out.